Hi everyone, I'm Moody Boo and I am back with another, I guess it's a list. It's a ranking, which I rarely do. But I figured this really lent itself to being put in order. Betty! Betty is always giving me a hard time. Put them in order, put them in order. So today though, I am going to be ranking my favorite perfumes, not necessarily my favorite perfume reviewers, but my favorite perfumes from perfume reviewers. So I have 7 of them. And these, like I said, are just my favorites, my absolute favorites. And I'm going to rank them. I have from my least favorite 7 to my most favorite number 1. I did this scientifically. Sort of. So I tried to make it as objective as possible and take as much of my subjectivity out of it as I could. But at the same time, I had to leave some of it in for some of the categories in the rankings. And let me just tell you what they are. There's 6 of them. As usual, a caveat. Jeremy fragrances won't be in here. I've never tried them. I have no plans of trying them. We just are not the same style at all. So I just am not real interested in those perfumes. So they're not on the list. So there's 6 categories, and that's scent, performance, cost, originality, presentation, and involvement. And what I mean by involvement is just how involved is the YouTuber in making that perfume from start to finish. And I'm ranking it on a scale of 1 to 5. So 1 being the least and 5 being the best in each particular category. So let's get started. So number 7, send in the trolls. There's gotta be trolls. Anyway, number 7 for me is Minuet Demi by Fragrance du Bois by Demi Rawlings. And I'll try to remember to put everybody's YouTube channels down here. Now there is 1 or 2 that don't really review anymore. So if they don't, I'm of course not going to put a link. But anyway, this is number 7. Now, before y'all start hating on me, because I know everybody reveres Demi and her perfume, it is on my favorites list. So it is in my top 7. I have other perfumes that aren't even on this list, made by YouTubers or bloggers, things like that. So she may be at the bottom of the list, but she's on the list. And I'm not even going by the absolute fiasco that was the launch of this perfume. That's not even included in on the score. Even though, worst launch ever. Now, it wasn't just that the whole screw the rest of the world and just send them out to your European customers thing that really gets me. It's the fact that they're relaunching this, potentially going to make it a staple in the Fragrance du Bois arsenal for purchase for everybody. So I wouldn't have rushed to buy it during the holidays, except for she touted it as a limited edition. That if you didn't get it now, you weren't going to be able to get it again. So I was like, oh crap, I better buy a bottle. Then lo and behold, now it's being relaunched again. Yay! So it's not even as unique and special as it was when I first got it. Anyway, her score, and this is of course 5 out of 6 categories. You can get top 5, so that's a top score of 30. For the scent, out of 5, I gave her a 4. It's a nice scent. It's supposed to be this coffee, pimento, gourmand scent. I don't get gourmand. I get like a woody, iso-y super, slightly coffee, sweet kind of a scent. Not real sweet. It's what I call a unicorn in the regard that it's on my brainless table, my mindless table, that you can wear this year round. It's very polite with its performance, so you could wear it day or night. Again, if you're expecting a big gourmand, you're going to be sadly disappointed, because a lot of us get the iso-y super and Broxan kind of molecule mixed with a little coffee and vanilla, you know, like that. So anyway, so she got a 4 with the scent. Performance, she got a 3. It's, you know, moderate in its projection and moderate in its sillage and moderate in its longevity. Those are the 3 ways I determine performance: on how far it projects from your body when you're wearing it, how much of the scent you leave behind, the sillage, when you leave a room, and how many hours does it last. So in that regard, it got a 3. So for originality, it got a 3. It's not real original, but it's much more original than you would find it in Nordstrom's or Macy's or something like that. So then for cost, it got a 1. It's very expensive, and I do not think that the cost warrants the perfume, especially now that it is not a limited edition anymore. I feel like it's way too expensive for what you get. Presentation, it got a 4. It's a lovely presentation, but all of their bottles are pretty much the same. There's no real uniqueness to each of the bottles to let you know that this one is Minuet Demi, not, you know, Oud Orange Intense. You know, I wish there was a little more identifying other than just the words on it saying that it's Minuet Demi. So for her involvement in making the perfume, I gave her a 1, because she isn't the perfumer. She had nothing to do with the bottle. She claimed she had nothing to do with the marketing or distribution. So her involvement was really minimal. That makes Minuet Demi's total score out of 30 a 16. Next one. Number 6 is by Steven Gavrielatos. I apologize if I didn't pronounce that right. From Redolescence on YouTube. And his house is Navitus. And if I have more than one from a perfume reviewer, I just picked my favorite. So the one I picked, actually all of the ones I have from his particular line are my favorite, but I just chose Vertus by Navitus. Oh man, I really like this one. Oh, so Vertus is just a beautiful, spicy, almost gourmandy kind of a tobacco perfume to me. It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. I really, really adore it. So the scores for Vertus is, for scent, I gave it a 4. I adore this perfume. I absolutely adore it. There were some people that compared it to Tobacco Vanille. No, this is so much better to me. Oh, it's gorgeous. Oh, it's gorgeous. It got a 3 for performance. It's right, you know, it's polite. It performs a little better than Minuet Demi, but it's a denser kind of a sillage and not as feathery as Minuet Demi's. And then for originality, it got a 3 because it does kind of have aspects of it that remind me and others of Vertus. Not a lot, but there are some. So I kind of cut it in the middle and gave it a 3 on that. And the cost, it got a 3. It's mid-range. So I put the mid-range right at the middle of my scale. And as far as presentation, it got a 3. You know, it's a nice bottle. And I think the bottles have changed for this line as well. I think they've changed to what Buck from Big Beard Business, and from then on, those kind of bottles that weren't translucent like this. They're much more solid at the color, different looking. So it got a 3. And then for involvement, I gave Stephen a 3 because he was much more involved than like Demi was. He was the first in this line, and if I'm not mistaken, when I watched his videos, he was also involved in giving his opinions on the bottle, on the name of the company, along with the name of the perfumes, of course. Of course, he worked with a perfumer on the scent, so he doesn't get a point for that, but he was involved with the design of the bottle, the name of the company, etc. So I figured that was a good 3 on his involvement. So that leaves Vertus with a score of 19 out of 30. Number 5. Number 5 is also from the house of Navitus, but a different creative director, a YouTuber by the name of Buck Moore from Big Beard Business. And this is Saguaro Exclusive. I really went back and forth with the 2 I have from Buck, which one I should put on this list, but I really do adore this one. Oh, it's so pretty. Oh, it's so pretty. It's just this sweet, floral, slightly gourmand, woody kind of a perfume. It's like there's some, it's like if almonds turned into a flower is what you get. So Saguaro Exclusive got a 4 for the scent. I love it. Absolutely love it. It got a 4 for performance. It performs really, really well. I have no issues with it. It's not beast mode, but it doesn't need to be. I gave it a 4 for originality because I don't have other perfumes like this. Now, this may smell similar to something you have, but it really isn't for something I have. And the proportions they're in, and it's just, it's one of those perfumes that just makes me feel good. Wow, the way I said that was a little inappropriate. The cost, I gave it a 3. It's a Navitus. It's mid-range, under $200, but over $100. Presentation, I gave it a 3. I really like the red and stuff, but it's still fairly basic. It's nothing very ornate or very unique or anything. So I figured it was kind of middle of the road with 3, but I do love the color. And then Buck from Big Beard Business got a 2 for involvement because he was involved with, as I understand it, picking out the color and the name and working with the perfumer on the scent. So he had more involvement in it than Demi, but less than Stephen. So that's why he got a 2. So Saguaro Exclusive's combined score is a 20 out of 30. And that's number 5. Number 4. The next one is from the house of Galleria Perfumes. And this is Dreamwoods. And it's by the YouTuber Ashton Kirkland from Gentsets. Look, purple glass. I like this. So for me, this is just this gorgeous tonka, cardamom, lavender, Peru balsam beauty. It's just divine. It's sweet and it's gorgeous and it's very unisex. So for Dreamwoods, for the scent, I gave it a 4. It's amaze bomb. It's incredible. For the performance, I gave it a 4. It performs really, really well. It's not beast mode. Oh. Almost shoved it up my nose. Ah! It's not beast mode, but it performs really, really well. For originality, I gave it a 4. It doesn't really smell like anything else I have in my collection. It has essences, maybe, that remind me of parts of potentially other perfumes, but nothing really pops in my head when I smell it. So it got a 4 for originality. For the cost, it was a 2, because it is normally over $200, just barely, but it's in my expensive range. So it got a 2. Presentation, I gave it a 4, because look at that purple glass. Gorgeous. You can really distinguish between the bottles very easily. The color of the glass is very different from each other. I just love purple glass. And blue glass and red glass. Anyway, and then involvement, I gave him also a 3, because it's like Steven's house. He was the first. He had a lot of creative direction, not only in the scents that came out, the multiple scents that came out, but also in the presentation. So he gets an extra point for that. Love this house. Love it. Down to my top 3. The next one is also from the House of Navitus, and this is my latest acquisition. I went crazy. I mean crazy for this perfume from first spray. And I'm sorry if I butcher your name. This is from Monica. Sioche? I don't think it's Kioch. I don't know. I don't know what language it is, so I can't really tell what emphasis to put on which syllable and how to put the CH together. Is it a sh or a ch? You know, I'm really bad with that sort of thing. So I'm going to go with Monica Sioche. So I'm sure I'll get it corrected. Anyway, from the House of Navitus, and this is the Embrace. Oh my God. Oh my God. I am whacknut crazy noodles over this perfume. Ah! I've only had it 3 days. And I have hardly worn anything else since I had it. Got it. Received it. Now this is a coffee perfume. But it's a coffee with attitude. Because of this sesame note. Oh my God. When I saw a video of her explaining this perfume, of Monica talking about what this perfume was going to be like, I was like, I understand the concept. I appreciate the originality, but I'm not sure if it's going to work. Well, bam, bam, bam. It works. It's gorgeous. Oh, it's so pretty. I'm going to do a full review on this, but to me, I almost get a little almonds and blood orange in there, but that is not two of the notes in there. The Embrace. So, how does it rank? So, as you can imagine, the scent got a 5 for me. This is potentially going on my desert continent list. I'm crazy about it. I'm absolutely crazy about it. So, it got a 5 for the scent. For performance, it got a 4. It performs really well, but it's not beast mode, so it doesn't need to frighten you. For originality, I had to give it a 5. Coffee and sesame and some of the other notes in there, it's like it shouldn't work, but it works to perfection. It's absolutely, but I have nothing that is heavy sesame like this. And I love sesame. I love it in those little snacks that you get. And I can't talk. Isn't sesame one of the things that goes in halva? Because I love halva. And I'm pretty sure the last one I got was made out of sesame seeds. Oh, I love halva. So I had nothing like this, not even close. So of course it was a 5 in originality. Cost is a 3 because of course it's Navitus. All of their prices are right the same with each line. So it is under $200. It's in the mid-range. So it got a 3. Presentation, it also got a 3, just like the others from the House of Navitus. It's very nice. It's more of a berry color than Saguaro Exclusive, which is more red, more this ruby deep red, and this one is much more berry colored like that. So it's a 3. And then of course she got a 2 for her involvement because she didn't have anything to say about, you know, the design and of the cap and the bottle and the sprayer. It was all probably the color. I'm sure she had something to say about that and the name of it and stuff. So and then of course the perfume itself. So that I gave her a 2 on her involvement, which gives her a total score of 22 out of 30. Oh. Number 2 is from the House of Centauri, and that's Peter Carter from Fragrance View on YouTube. And my favorite of the line is Proxima. Oh, this is nice. This is just a bright, citrusy, berry, aldehydic kind of a perfume for me. It's very pretty. But for the scent, I gave it a 3. Let me explain. I have to be in the mood to wear it. There's other fruity berry perfumes that I tend to grab before I grab this one. Now, every time I wear it, I'm like, why aren't I wearing this more? But it's just one of those things where I look at it, I love looking at the bottle, but I reach for it maybe 1 out of every 3 times that I look at it. I really have to be in the mood for it. And it is pretty season specific too. So that's why I gave it a 3 on the scent. Performance, I gave it a 4. You don't have to worry about it being beast mode unless you overspray, and then it will become pretty beastly. But it's a really good performer. So that's definitely in sillage, projection, longevity. So that's a 4. And as far as the originality of this perfume, now I think his other 2 fairs, Gaia and Dendera, I think they're actually way more unique than Proxima, but this was my favorite of the 3. So for originality, I gave him a 4. It's very original, but I don't think it's groundbreaking, and it's not so niche that a lot of people wouldn't enjoy it. Cost is a 3. It's mid-range, so it's affordable between $100 and $200, closer to the middle of that, as I recall. It's like, but he goes by how much it costs him to make it. So not all of his perfumes are going to cost the same. It depends on how much the notes cost that he's putting into it. Presentation, come on. Really? You need to ask. 5 all the way, baby. One of the prettiest bottles in my collection. It is gorgeous. Gorgeous. Absolutely. Probably one of the top 5 in my collection of prettiest, maybe even top 3. Maybe even higher. It's so pretty. I wish the light was hitting it right so you could really see through that glass. It's so gorgeous. And the top, what? 5. And Peter's involvement, definitely a 5. He's the perfumer. He's the creative director. He eats all the cost. I mean, he doesn't have a big sponsor above him taking in all the costs. He does it himself, right in his home. I've watched his videos and even his live streams. I've even participated. I even have a sample of his that he created there during a live stream. And he was kind of talking about what he wanted to do, and I helped him kind of figure it out. So he sent me a little decant of that sample that he made, and it's gorgeous. And so he is involved in every aspect of it, from designing the bottle, the names, the perfumes, everything. So that's a 5. So his total out of 30 is 24. Now for the top, if you haven't guessed already. My number 1 is by, of course, John Pegg from Kerosene, the House of Kerosene. He does not review anymore. He's too busy. So, yeah, he just doesn't anymore. He'll do interviews, but he doesn't review perfumes anymore. And I had to pick Unknown Pleasures. I just had to. This is like one of those, oh God, here we go again, sugar cones with like a lemon meringue ice cream or sorbet that's in the cone. That's what this is. It's one of the best gourmands out there. One of the best. So for scent, 5. Easily 5. It's one of my all-time favorites. It's a desert island perfume. Performance is a 5. 2 sprays of this will last me a long time, and it projects the entire time. It's pretty beast mode actually, so you have to be careful when you spray a lot of his perfumes. They are very beastly. For originality, I had to give it a 5 because this was one of my first super niche indie houses I started exploring, and this one absolutely blew my mind. It is just, like I said, one of the best gourmands out there, and it's proper gourmand too. There's no question it's a gourmand. Oh, it's so pretty. Wow. Ha. For cost, I gave it a 3, of course, because it is mid-range. You get this right in the 150, 160 range, I want to say, right in there. The bottles are totally different. This is the original bottle. And so for presentation, I gave it a 3. And that's with the new bottles. If he'd have kept on with the old bottles, I probably would have given it a 4 because each of the bottles, depending on the perfume, is a different color. The really cool thing about John Pegg is that this is like car paint. He paints each one of these himself. I don't know if he still does now that he's changed them to a standard color, standard design on all of the bottles are much more uniform. But back then, I know he painted these himself. You know, had to wear the mask, take it in the garage where it's closed off, you know, and have the respirator on and actually spray the bottles like you would a car. And this is car paint. You can tell it's kind of glittery. It's hard to see, but. So I like the original. Okay, here's what I like. The original colors and paints and things of these bottles with the new bottle shapes. That's what I would like to see happen, is that he keeps those very square bottles, very industrial looking bottles, but start painting them different colors again. That would be my favorite. Then it would go up on the score. But the new bottle designs, I have to give him a 3. As far as involvement, come on, a 5. He paints the bottles. He made the whole house. He's another one that, now I don't know if he still does, but he started this perfume house on his own without any sponsorship or anything like that. He is the perfumer. He's the creative director. He's probably the CEO. I don't know. But, so yeah, he had to get a 5. So that gave him a total of 26 out of 30. So by far, John Pegg, Unknown Pleasures, the House of Kerosene, is my favorite YouTuber's Perfume. YouTube reviewers, Perfume. Yeah. Oh. Oh, God, it's so good. So anyway, all right, well, that was my top perfumes by YouTube perfume reviewers. And don't forget to like and subscribe and ring the bell and comment if you want. If you don't, it's all good. I still love you. And use your own nose.